Is it possible to reverse or manage diabetes? And if yes, how can that be done? That's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Rajiv Ambat. I'm the CEO and the Chief Health Officer at NuvoVivo Center for Obesity, Lifestyle Disorders and Research. Last year in 2020, we impacted the lives positively of around 1,000 plus people, helping them not just lose weight, but also manage lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, cholesterol, PCOD, fatty liver, etc. And in 2021, our mission is to touch positively the lives of over 5,000 plus people. Today, I'm going to talk about a case study wherein how we worked with a client who approached us with a super high HbA1c level and how we helped that person manage and reduce the dosage of medication over a period of time. And while I explain this, let me tell you, we strongly believe that what gets measured gets managed. It is very important, hence, that you take a routine check, a blood check once in a while. And especially if you're diabetic, do check that with a reasonable frequency. And if you really want to bring your medications down and improve lifestyle, do that by also measuring how have you been progressing, how much is your body able to respond, and how is your body able to bring the resistance of towards the insulin down, so on and so forth, right? So coming back to the case study, there was this client who reached us in October with an HbA1c report of around 15.5. That's super high blood sugar levels, an average estimated blood sugar levels of around 400. And mind you, the expected number is around 100, 110. So this person reaches us at around with a HbA1c level of 15.5 and wanted to become healthy and maybe impossible also do some weight. The person was around 60 years of age, and we started, obviously, this person was a Malayali, so we spoke to the person, understood their eating habits, preferences, the kind of the food. As expected, the person liked rice and the normal Mallu breakfast such as idli, dosa, and so on and so forth. Of course, we didn't ask the person to stop all these kind of rice just because that is diabetic. It's important to do something which is sensible and something that the person enjoys doing, so that he or she can do it over longer duration and can actually imbibe this lifestyle for rest of the life. So being sensible and being flexible is very, very important. Only then it can be sustainable for rest of the life, right? So how is it possible? It's possible by commonsensically and scientifically looking at it. For example, it's a common thing that people say that if brown rice is better than white rice, especially if the person is diabetic. Why? Because brown rice, as compared to white rice, has slightly higher amount of fiber and protein, because it's a husk that comes along with it, right? So it has slightly higher amount of protein and fiber, and hence the glycemic index of the brown rice is slightly lower than that of the white rice. That's the reason that it is preferred for a diabetic person. But let me tell you, if you don't like brown rice and if you prefer having white rice, you can still have white rice. And why do I say that? Let's take an example. A person having brown rice with sambar and curd, as against a person having white rice with, say, a spinach curry and a portion of protein like an egg white or fish. In fact, the second option that I said, which is white rice plus green leafy vegetable with a protein portion, is in fact much better and has a lower glycemic index than brown rice with some sambar and curd. Why? Because body understands food as a whole. It's not going to digest rice separately, curry separately, so on and so forth. Everything is chewed up together into one, mushy form, and that's what actually is digested in our body. So body understands food as a whole. So it's possible to have white rice if you like white rice. Just have it with a good, reasonably sizable portion of vegetables and protein, and that will help you to reduce the glycemic index of the food and can still manage lifestyle diseases such as diabetes. So I'm going to show a graph which explains how we track these numbers and how we helped and intervened in terms of helping this person reduce the medication over a period of time. So as I mentioned, this person came to us with blood sugar levels of around 15.5 HbA1c and sometime during October. and with some sort of a lifestyle intervention, including exercises and including diet, we kind of brought it down to somewhere around 200 levels. But mind you, it's still high, right? So since this person was slightly aged, we started with chair-based exercises, sitting on a chair, take 2 bottles of water, fill it with water, and then do exercises with that. That's how we started the program. And we gave diet plan, which include normal food, structuring of total calories, and structuring of carbohydrates, and the timing of carbohydrates, and how the total carbohydrate is split across different meals is important, especially for a person with such high blood sugar levels. So we did that, and we kind of brought it the program further down, and we saw that the blood sugar levels are actually settling down. That's when we realized that, okay, maybe this person would need medical help. So we got this person to do a online consultation uh, um, with one of our advisory panel of doctors, and the doctor prescribed 2 tablets. One is a glycomet, another one is a voglibose. That's what you see at the bottom of this graph. That's the blue patch that you see here on the graph. The doctor prescribed this medication. So glycomet is a combination drug of metformin and glimepiride. Voglibose is yet another kind of a medication which reduces the absorption of the glucose in the intestine. Medical stuff. So a doctor has to prescribe this. Mind you, uh, any medications, either prescribing or unprescribing, has to be done by a doctor, and it is not safe to just decide by yourself to stop having these medications just because you thought the blood sugar levels have settled. You always need to get it approved from a certified medical doctor. So these medicines were introduced, and we saw gradual reduction in the blood sugar levels further down, and it came down to somewhere around 100, 120 levels. And somewhere around 7th of November, that's where the blue strip ends, we realized that the client complained that the person is feeling hypoglycemic, meaning the blood sugar levels are falling beyond what is expected, and the person is feeling very, very weak. So that's when we got a further follow-up consultation of this client with our doctor, and the doctor further reduced their medication into half. So it was half, that's the green patch that you see. And the program continued, and we gradually realized that since the person is very, very regular with sticking to the plan, and by the way, the plan was not very difficult. As we mentioned, we gave dosa, idli, etc., but with some sort of fiber and protein planning around it. And we asked the person to do these exercises every day for at least half an hour, 6 days in a week minimum, and be generally physically active by walking around and so on and so forth, and doing household work, etc. And by around 7th November, the doctor reduced the medication. 26th November, we checked the HbA1c level. The HbA1c level had come down to 9.7. Further, the program continued, and initially we asked the client to check. Remember, I mentioned what gets measured gets managed. It was important that we measure both fasting and the postprandial numbers on a frequent basis. So we asked, for the first around 2 weeks, we asked the person to give it these numbers every day. Gradually, as we started seeing the numbers kind of settling down, we said, okay, maybe twice in a week. And then after a month and a half or two, he said maybe once in a week is also all right. So the person kept reporting to us over our WhatsApp group, messaged us the fasting and the postprandial numbers. We kept a track of that, and we gradually saw these numbers stabilizing and reducing to around 100 and 120 levels. That's what you see towards the end of the December. Anyway, long story short, by the end of December, by 1st January, assuming you're present, person went in and took the HbA1c levels, and the HbA1c levels have settled down to 7.1%. Still slightly higher than the expected level of 6.5, but it's a huge improvement considering the person started at 15.5 and has brought it down to 7.1. So the problem with the elevated blood sugar levels, if this had continued like this for a longer duration, there is a very, very high chance of it becoming worse in terms of affecting kidney, which is called a diabetic nephropathy. It can sometimes even affect the nerves, and it can cause diabetic neuropathy, so on and so forth. It is very well important that you need to bring in the expertise of course, you need to consult a doctor and get the expertise and expert advice of a doctor along with medicines. But it's very important also to make lifestyle changes. Only then you can bring this and reasonably reverse or definitely manage such lifestyle diseases, especially diabetes. So with this client, what we did is that we administered a kind of a low carb to moderate carb kind of a diet from 1500 to 1700 calorie range. We kind of kept shifting between these ranges depending upon how the blood sugar levels are, adjusting depending upon the centimeters that the person is losing around the belly, so on and so forth. This calorie range that we mentioned is for the person, specific person. It may not be your range. It varies depending upon gender, physical conditions, and many other, if there is any other comorbidities such as cholesterol, uric acid, etc. These are all very important parameters, especially for a diabetic person. If a person has been chronic diabetic with such high elevated HbA1c levels, it's very important that you also understand the renal function test and check if the creatinine levels are normal, if there is no albumin loss or microalbumin in the urine. These things are very, very important to understand before you mindlessly increase protein. The simplest approach of reduce carbohydrates, eat a lot of protein, may backfire if the person, especially in cases like this, if the person has been chronic diabetic with these kind of HbA1c levels. So that's where you need to bring in some sort of expertise from the medical side also. We also kind of structured the carbs around somewhere around 1500 to 200 grams per day kind of a range, and protein intake of around 60 grams per day. That's again a rough number. Carbs we slowly started increasing as we started realizing that the body is responding positively. Insulin resistance is slowly coming down. We kind of gradually increased carbohydrates to make sure that the person is not going hypoglycemic. And that's how we help this person manage this diabetes and brought down the HbA1c level from 15.5 to 7.1. We also gave low intensity workouts, as I earlier mentioned. These were largely the chair based workouts, and we asked this person to be generally active even otherwise. And that's how we manage lifestyle diseases such as diabetes. Managing diseases such as this can be done, but with some amount of proper process, proper measuring. Again, I'm repeating, what gets measured gets managed. So if you want to manage blood sugar levels, it's important that you measure it and then gradually structure both calorie intake and exercises together. I hope this information was helpful for you. My name is Rajiv Ambat. I'm the CEO and the Chief Health Officer at the NuvoVivo Center for Obesity, Lifestyle Disorders and Research. We are an online health, wellness and fitness company, and we can work with our clients anywhere in the world, help them become healthy, fit, reverse their age, make them look younger, and also manage such lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cholesterol, thyroid to a reasonable extent, fatty liver, uric acid, hypertension, so on and so forth. I hope you like this information. If you have any doubts or queries, do comment here and I'll be more than glad to answer that. All right, you take care as always. Stay healthy, stay fit, stay young, and stay safe. Take care. Bye.